Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the regular tribal council. Call our meeting to order at 9:08 a.m. Their morning prayer.
Heavenly Father, we come to you this morning, thanking you for allowing us to be part of another beautiful day. Lord, help us to add to the beauty of it by the way we treat other people, even if it would mean a stranger. How could we as a tribe ask for so little and receive so much from you? Lord, we seek your guidance today in all that we say and do. Lord, thank you most of all that we don't decide who leaves this world next or what tomorrow's weather will be like. This we pray in your name, Lord. Amen.
Kenny, council adding to executive session, a discussion with the chief of police and documents I've requested. With additions to the agenda. Do we have a motion to see the agenda?
Move it.
Motion by Eric, second by Isaac. Objection. Motion carried. 6-0-0. Moving into the minutes, we have the May 19th, 2025 mid-monthly minutes. We have a motion to approve.
Move it, Madam Chair.
Motion by Kenny to be able to. Discussion. Objection. Motion carried 5-0-0. May 21st, 2025 general council meeting minutes. Do we have a motion to approve?
Move it, Madam Chair.
Motion by Kenny to be able to second.
I'll second it too.
Call for a second. Right, Tracy? Discussion. Objection. 5-0-0. 5-0-0. May 22nd, 2025 first board meeting. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Lorelei. Yeah, second. Discussion. Objection. Motion carried 5-0-0. May 28th, 2025 law enforcement fire department BIA report meeting minutes. Do we have a motion to approve?
Move it.
Motion by Eric, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Lorelei. Discussion. Objection. Motion carried 5-0-0. There are no ratifications, so we're moving to new business. And we have the planning department here. I invite Brittany to the discussion. And our first order of business is the Vice President Enhancement Project, utilizing the BIA carryover funding request. The next resolution number is 25-160. Brittany, do you want anything to comment before we call for that resolution?
No, this will just be for carryover funds for the wells that they were requesting prior, or putting this in the carryover funds, along with a dually and a skid steer for the wildlife Forest department.
We have a motion to adopt resolution 25-160.
Move it. What was it, 25 what?
25-160. Discussion. Objection. Motion carries 6-0-0. Moving into fiscal year 25, Native American Career and Technical Education Program supplemental funding.
Any questions? So this will be a supplemental funding for the NACTAP program, CTE, in the amount of $72,969. It's pretty much just to support the CTE program, to support activities competing with like literacy base and stuff like that with the Winnebago Public School, the education department, and raising the curriculum around that area.
We have a motion to adopt resolution 25-160.
Move it.
Second. Discussion. Objection. Motion carries 6-0-0.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brittany.
Thank you, Brittany.
Moving into Little Priest Tribal College, invite President Patil.
Hi, good morning.
But they're not here. Skipping people. All right, continue on. I skipped somebody, but they're not here. I apologize. Do you want to wait or do it? Just go ahead. Okay.
Honeybee, good morning, tribal council members. Every 3 to 4 years, as requested by the, as required by the Higher Learning Commission, the board bylaws of the college has to be reviewed and approved by the board and by the tribal council. The last time it was done in February 25th of 2021, and now we are on the 4th year cycle. So the board has made an approval of the changes to our bylaws. Some are small, minor, some are, I would say, a little significant. So the copies, the red line document was sent to the tribal council, and it was approved by the legal as well. I can go through page by page, starting on the red line document. Page number 4 is where I would say some of the changes really kick in. Article 3, membership, is the one I would like to start with. I'm not going to worry about small grammar changes and stuff like that. The first one is Article 3, membership. If an individual has been appointed to the Board of Trustees and subsequently is removed or removes themselves from the Winnebago membership, their position on the Board of Trustees shall automatically terminate with no further action required. Because the requirement is to be a Winnebago tribal member to be on the Board of Trustees. And if there's a change in their membership, they cannot be on the board. So that was not included in the original bylaws in 1996.
With that, so it says subsequently is removed or removes themselves. So is removed, that would be within the board's own process that they find themselves removed.
Exactly. And the next one is section 4.1A, media.
So, real quick,
Yes.
so what this is saying is they would have to be disenrolled then?
If they disenroll themselves and to go to a different membership, different tribe, then they can be on the Board of Trustees.
Okay, so with or against their will of disenrollment, that would have to be the way it is for removing themselves. I just kind of, I understand that. I'm
Yep.
just kind of making sure that you understood that with or against their will of disenrollment, that they would automatically come off.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you. Section, Article 4, Section 4.1A, media. There was no section on media, who is allowed to speak from the college side. So a statement has been added. Only the board chairperson and or the college president or his designee or her designee are permitted to make statements to discuss the matters of the college to the media and or social media. Trustees are prohibited from making any comments to the media without prior approval from the board, especially with the new Trump administration. Any statement you make can come back and hurt your institution. So this has been specifically added to address that issue.
Okay.
Same article, section 4.3, qualifications and limitations. There's one statement that has been deleted. The deletion is on the right-hand side. It says, the minimum qualifications for the Board of Trustees are a bachelor's degree earned from an accredited institution of higher learning, it was an 5 years of general professional experience combined with 1 year of travel college experience and 1 year of travel organizing experience. it is very hard to evaluate that. So the board thought to remove that one and just keep it as a bachelor's degree required to be on the board of trustees. And of course, they have to be Winnebago tribal members.
I got a discussion on that.
Yes.
Well, I guess one of the things that I guess first acknowledge is that the whole Canadian higher education movement, was to encourage bachelor's degree in higher education seeking tribal members. And even now with some of our positions, we have folks in almost like legacy positions within the organization that don't have formal education. And that would eliminate them from serving on this board. And thinking of one individual that served for over 20 years in one of our departments, and I would take her experience and over anybody with a bachelor's degree fresh out of college that does not have that robust experience and contributions to make. So I totally see what the board's saying, but I also think that takes away maybe even some of our former leadership that don't have a bachelor's degree that are going to contribute. So just bringing it up because until we just all have bachelor's degrees, it just leaves a small amount of people that are eligible to serve on this board, and it almost seems like gatekeeping, if you ask me.
Mr. Chairman, Chairwoman, definitely, if the tribal council feels that that's something we need to be addressing, we can go back and address that.
So I'm just kind of bringing up my personal opinion, but I don't want to go as far as say the tribal council feels that way. But I just see from different folks that we call upon and that we value their expertise, their contribution, I guess, that they build over time. I just don't see cutting them out. But anyway, I'm just kind of generating discussion, but I feel
I'm really with you, Madam Chair. We have people who really are knowledgeable about our 12 clans and our ways, and they know the history of our people. And if they one of them wanted to serve on our board, I would want them on our board of trustees. So by approving this, where you have to have a bachelor's, we cut out that traditional knowledge that we always want, that we need. So I don't agree with that bachelor's degree thing.
We're absolutely okay to keep it as is, where it was 5 years of general professional experience combined with 1 year of tribal college experience and 1 year of tribal organization, or any other suggestions the membership has, so that we can take it back to our board and the legal to review it and come back.
So I guess I couple my statements with that our organizations have a lot to gain from having all levels of contribution and knowledge. And, as Laura kind of stated, our community values not only traditional Western education, but we also value our own teaching. Does anybody else want to comment on that?
I got a comment. Is there, I guess it's kind of come to my attention that, like in the hierarchy of education, you got your top colleges, your private colleges, your community college, your tribal college, and the tribal college kind of sits on the lower end of the hierarchy of education. Now, is it true that Little Priest Tribal College has set a education expiration? So if somebody goes to this college and they get that they pass some classes and they wait a few years and they try to come and bring it back to, and they want to pick up on their education. Is it true that you say there's expiration to those classes, that they can't be credited for them here, even if they came from a higher echelon source of education?
I can answer that. It's 10 years for a specific number of courses, especially like computer courses, which changes quite a bit. But it's 10 years, but not for all courses. For example, if you take English Composition 1, let's say at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln or at Little Priest Tribal College, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, we accept that. But some of the computer courses, which changes so fast, so we have an expiration date of 10 years. But very few courses have an expiration date, but the majority of them do not have expiration dates. So we have a team that evaluates when somebody comes to our college and say, hey, we have done these courses, and we will tell them, hey, this will transfer, this will transfer, this will not transfer, and we'll have a reason behind it. And it's mainly for computer classes.
Okay, this is not for computer classes. This is for like arts classes, liberal arts, just arts, or painting or whatever it might be.
Yeah, very doubtful that it has an expiration date. I can double check, but I'm pretty sure we don't have an expiration date for those courses.
Okay, can you get a list for us so we can have that, so I can see that? Because the information I've been given is that there has been a expiration date set on these courses, and it's kind of deterring this individual and other individuals from trying to further their education.
I can get those.
Because that way I can show them, whatever you give me, I can show them that they can further their education and then not have them deterred, because there's a lot of deterrence in education, furthering individuals' education on a reservation, whether it's time or not just daytime, time during the day, but just in their life, their lifetime, that want to ensure that they stay motivated and positive to achieve further self-education. That's what I'm looking at.
I don't know who it is, but the only request I have is anybody who's listening, please come and talk to us. We make so much exception, we just want to talk to these people, and people make an assumption that, we don't do this, or they think that this course is expired. If they can come and talk to us, but of course I'm going to send you the list, but they also can come and talk to us.
They've already talked to you. That's what was told to them. That's what was told to me. Now we're here at this table.
Okay.
And so if we say, have them go talk to you again, we don't know what was said, and they might come off, and there's going to be two different stories again, and we're going to start the repetitious cycle again.
Okay,
So
we'll send you the list of courses so that that can be shared.
that way we can give them the list, anyone that we may know, and then they can come talk to you, and they'll have that paper in hand for verification for themselves.
Okay,
So
so
that'll start a new conversation.
thank you.
Hey, thanks, Eric, for advocating for that student, and so hopefully that will help. So can we just kind of put a little tick mark or earmark on the ones that have discussion, and then I guess when we're done, the council can decide if they're ready to make some recommendations or motion to approve. Okay.
Okay. In the same section, we have added one more important thing, which is actually a requirement under Higher Learning Commission. It says, similarly, members of the Board of Trustees shall not be eligible for employment with Little Priest Tribal College until they have left the service of the board for a minimum of 1 year. So that means a board member cannot resign and join the college the very next day. So they have to have a gap time. And the board think 1 year is minimum is required. And then we also included in the same paragraph, the motion that was made by Tribal Council last year. The Tribal Council shall endeavor to appoint trustees so as to avoid potential conflict of interest, and therefore has determined it is necessary to preclude several positions within Winnebago Tribe of Nebraska from simultaneously serving on the LPTC Board of Trustees. These positions include but are not limited to the CEO and the CAO. That motion was made by the Tribal Council last year.
Real quick conversation. Why did you make it a year? Why not 6 months? Because sometimes people have to decide, like stutter step, between a year is kind of too long to be from the board to a student. I think 6 months would be adequate for that change for their lifestyle. So that's just kind of what I'm looking at, because 6 months should be enough time to say, I want to be off the board, I want to be a student, and I want to want it to flow, with their way of life. A year is seems to be a long time.
So this is when if you work there. So if you work there and leave for your reason or someone else's reason, then you can't just like immediately get on the board.
Oh, I thought it was from the board to a student.
No, nope, it's if you work there.
Oh, okay.
For the employees to be on the board, it is a 3-year. That was the original charter. The original bylaws missed if you're a board member and if you want to join Little Priest as an employee, there was no statement or there was no rules for that. So then we added this statement that if you're a board member, you resign or you're removed, you have to sit out for at least 1 year before you apply for a position at the college as an employee. So that was
Okay.
the 1 year.
Okay, all right, I had it backwards. Sorry.
Thank you. Moving on to section 4.3A, there was no mention on board training. It's a requirement under a higher learning commission. So we have specifically included the statement. The board of trustees and the college president shall complete full board training at least once in 2 years. We are planning to do it every year, but at least once in 2 years, either conducted at the college or at a prior approved location by the president. It is the responsibility of the president to arrange for the board training. We have arranged for this year on October 2025, between October 22nd and 27th has been arranged for this year. Another section has been added, new board member orientation. There was no mention on the orientation of new board members. The college president shall meet with the new board member within 1 month of their appointment for orientation. So they know the rules and regulations of our board, and they need to be aware of the bylaws. Again, there are some minor changes here and there. Moving on to page 8.
Wait, I just have a question, because I didn't see it up here, but, what does the board of trustees get as a,
Compensation.
yeah,
The board chair gets $350 and the board members get $300. And the tribal council approved this last year. It was $50 in the past per person and
so it's 300 per meeting?
per meeting.
Okay, and we can afford that.
As of right now, we can afford that and we are hoping that we'll always be able to afford that. Our board members do a lot of work, and they don't get payment for special meetings and stuff like that. But if the current administration does cut tribal college funding significantly, then something has to be reevaluated in the future. But God willing, that will never happen.
Okay.
That's on the last page of the document.
Oh, sorry.
Moving on to section Section 410, page 8. There was no clear definition of when you resign, what happens. So we added a statement. Until
7. Page 7.
Page 7, sorry. Section 410, resignation. Any trustee may at any time resign by serving written notice thereof on the remaining trustees. The board in the next scheduled meeting shall accept such resignation. Until such resignation has been accepted, the trustee shall continue to be a member of the board entitled to all information normally distributed to the trustees. So for example, if the board member resigns today and the meeting is till, let's say, next July, they'll keep getting the information till an official acceptance is done. moving on to section 412. We have removed we had a appendix A where we talked about the board of trustees benefit policy, that they can take classes at Little Priest Tribal College for free and everything. Well, we are offering free tuition to everybody, so it doesn't make sense to include that right now, so that has been deleted. And we'll reinstate when things go back, and we believe the free tuition can go up to another 3 years for sure. Because we just raised a $1.2 million from Sherwood Foundation and Scott Family Foundation that can pay off our carpentry building completely by itself, and we are not touching our ARPA funds. That means the $1.2 million gives us 2 additional years of free tuition. So God willing, we're at 4 years actually of free tuition.
Great, wonderful.
So our membership who are listening to this, I'm requesting you with my folded hands to take advantage of this. This may not last forever. Section 4.13, there has been another comment added to point A. Trustees shall become acquainted with the college in its program and its people. However, the trustee shall not interfere in the day-to-day administration of the college, including hire or termination of college employees, or take any action that has the intent or effect of undermining the president's authority. This has been a big issue with Higher Learning Commission, so we wanted to address that issue in the bylaws, that the board members cannot be involved in day-to-day operations. We also added in the same section, point H and I. All trustees must adhere to the Higher Learning Commission's criteria of accreditation and assume practices.
So just thinking and processing what you just now said. So what would be the process then for the board to engage in something that might have come to them or the council? So when issues come to the council, like kind of similar to what Eric was sharing earlier, are often we look toward the board to find out what's going on, find some type of resolution. So what would that look like under that section of the bylaws?
Madam Chair, that's an excellent question. And I'm glad you're asking this. If the tribal council or even the board gets any inquiry about employees or students or anybody for that matter, they need to just send an email to the president and say, Manoj, we have an issue. This is the issue we have learned about. Please deal with it. Any more involvement from the board or anybody for that matter is a violation of HLC's criteria of accreditation.
I don't know if you get to be the king, Manoj. I don't know if I think that's the way. I don't know that you can go unquestioned.
No, definitely. But if the resolution does not happen within then they can again, what happens, Madam Chair, is they directly go to the board or something like that. They have to go to the policy, the procedure. If they have come to me and it has not been resolved, then definitely they can come to the board and then to the tribal council.
Okay, I think we need to remove that, or we need to figure out how we can make Higher Learning Commission comfortable, because that does not work. We can't give absolute authority to you.
Okay. I'm gonna make that comment.
Where's that at?
This is section 413, part A.
So I think that the tribal council has done our best to not undermine folks, and why we've learned that we have to go to the board or to the folks that we put in charge to govern that operation. So I guess just put another little mark on that for
Yep.
discussion. Because if the board's already approved these, they must think that that's okay. But people somehow think that the council doesn't provide. Anyway, moving on.
We've added point H and I. Again, this is just to satisfy the higher learning's HLC's requirements. All trustees must adhere to the HLC's criteria of accreditation and assume practices. and they have training on this one. And all trustees must acknowledge and adhere to the LPTC conflict of interest policy and must annually submit a conflict of interest disclosure form. Further, should a trustee have a conflict of interest relating to a discussion item, the trustee shall recuse him or herself for the discussion but may remain present at such meeting. So for example, if you're working for HCI and there is a bid from HCI Construction, they cannot be, for example, they have to disclose that information.
So what if it had to do with their loved one and it was a personnel issue? Do they need to, I guess, why is it necessary that just allows them to still be there if it's a conflict of interest? Why do they insist on still being there? I'm just asking.
It happened, right?
Yeah.
If there's a conflict, they should remove themselves, and they shouldn't just still be so nervy and nosy enough to want to be in the room, because that makes everybody uncomfortable. Just saying from experience. When people aren't in the room, there's a much more fluid discussion on what the issue is. But if I get to sit there and watch you talk about my relative, then you might not get to say what you want to say.
I can put a note and review that one as well. The last one I would say is section 9.5, article 9, annual audit. It says the Board of Trustees shall annually contract with an independent external auditor for the purpose of conducting an audit for the financial books and records of the college. We added one more statement. The Board of Trustees must accept the audit report during the regularly held March board meeting or before March 31st of the following year, because that is a hard deadline by the Department of Education, is March 31st. In 2015, Little Priest Tribal College did not submit on time, and we were placed on heightened cash monitoring level 2, which is the highest monitoring by the Department of Ed, for a period of 5 years. And that will slow down the money we get from the government for the Pell, and it really hampers the growth of the institution. So March 31st is a strict deadline. In the last 6 years, we have never missed one day. We have
Good.
Never. And we wanted to make it as a bylaw requirement because this leads to heavy penalties for the institution, and it really does not look good on institution. So if they do it in March board meeting, great. If not, there's some delay, but it has to be before 31st. And 31st by 11:59 p.m. Eastern time, we have to submit to the Department of Ed website. If we don't do it, we will get an automatic. Now we already had one, so it's going to be automatically level 2, which is the highest level of fining, and we should not be doing that.
Thanks, Manoj. Rona, does that meet our audit schedule for the consolidated? March 21st, yeah. Okay.
So we just wanted to, it was understood, but after the 2015 situation, we just doesn't want any new coming board member or the board group in 5 years, 10 years future. This should not be an option to anybody for that matter. And this year, we were the first tribal college to submit. We submitted in February.
Wow, great job.
So thank you. And we had the most cleanest audit ever in the college history as well. So we just wanted to make it as a, and Mr. Decorah, your question on the payment, it is on the last page, Appendix A. It says all the way at the last, page 19. I would say. Yeah, Appendix A, it says trustee shall, yep.
Yeah.
So this has taken almost 6, 7 months of review, going back and forth with the legal and the board. So we were in a state to present it to the tribal council. So based on your feedback, either we can do amendments and get it approved, or we can make changes and come back here again. Whatever you're comfortable.
I think you need to make your decision with your board of trustees and bring the completed thing back.
Any feedback can I take so that I have my notes?
Council, the floor is open.
No, I just want to say thank you for bringing this forward today. I know you mentioned that you guys made a lot of changes going into it, but if you do bring back, or when you bring back the newly updated one, I know that we like to see the red line versions to show what's been removed and what was added. That's really helpful.
We have already sent the red line document.
That'd be helpful. Yeah. Oh, sure. Okay, thank you.
So I'll make a motion to table this until they can consider the input from the council on the different areas, and they can come back with what they approve.
When's the next board meeting?
June 18th.
Okay, so we have some time. And then, I guess if the board is, compelled to uphold this document as is, if they would come in person so
Yeah.
that we could kind of tease that out and say, we can live with that, we can't live with that, and maybe the council have some more, input. I don't want to be the queen either and be saying, change that. But, these are just things that prompted discussion for myself. And I invite the council to, support that, don't support that, if you like the way it is. But we have a motion on the table. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Eric. If in discussion, if you have any further areas that you see, please send Manoj a note prior to the June 18th. Objection to the motion. Motion carried 700. Yeah, 700.
Thank you, tribal council members. Before I leave, just want to take this opportunity to thank tribal council for overwhelming support of our May 2nd grand opening ceremony of our Louis LaRose Memorial Building. It was a great success. Pinagigi, thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Manoj, I appreciate all the honor you paid in memory of our Louis with that building, but I came back and talked to some of the council members about the need for a plaque that has his name and his Indian name when you walk in there. So I felt it was important to have his name when you walk in there in the entryway, somewhere there. So that everybody that enters that building knows that what goes on in this building is done in his memory. So, I don't know if I'm gonna ask the council if we can have a plaque made, but I did talk to his wife, Anita, and she brought his Indian name over to Annabeth, so Annabeth has it. So if it comes from the council, can we approve a plaque from the council with his name and his Indian name to hang there in the wall when you walk into that building? What do you guys think?
Put it on the agenda.
Okay. I did already. Talk to Anita.
Thank you.
So, thanks for Lorelai for bringing that up. There's a lot of good thoughts and feelings, and appreciate you guys honoring Louis. One of the talking points that had come up amongst the relatives, and it's our tradition when a loved one passes and they're in a union, it's our responsibility as relatives to give that relative back to our family. And so, when one of my Degas passed away years ago, my aunts, my nannies, they dressed, uh, they dressed my Dega's wife because they put their best on her, and they were telling her that it's okay for you to carry on and move on in a good way, and but that also signifies the family, them taking back their relative, I guess, in form of decision making and things like that. And so at that point, when my Dega passed away, it was my aunts that were part of the decision making because his wife gave him back to the family. And so that's kind of culturally significant to us. And so when Rona said, ask the family, that's kind of what she means. You need to consider what his sisters think
He
is
only
appropriate.
has one left.
And he has a sister left. So just sharing that with you, Manoj, because I know you really appreciate and have respected the way things are done in our community. And that had come up in discussion. So I just want to make sure in a good way that we share that with you too. And that so people don't feel left out and they feel that we're following the protocols that we know so and hold so dear.
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
You too.
Pinagigi.
Pinagee. Sorry, council, I overlooked item number 2 because I was just, got no eyes. So Boys and Girls Club request is in the packet, and we do have the CEO, Troy Parker, on the line with us. And in that packet, you'll find that it's a request to support an event.
It's for the lunch during the culture camp.
So I appreciate Rona kind of taking this on as our treasurer, and she had some initial discussion about, had they budgeted for this event, and was there other opportunity for to provide. But it looks like the meal is not too expensive. Yeah. So that's that 1,200. Okay, so there's some information in the packet, but I just want to make a kind of general statement, and because I'm saying this to protect the council. Every summer, there's a budgetary process that takes place, and all the programs that utilize the tribal appropriated funds. We're talking about our unrestricted money that is not grant funded or sourced. And so the council budgets, and as you know, we go through budget cuts every year, and we try to come up with something that's in the black, and we don't want to approve deficits. But where I'm going with this is that we don't, respectfully, we don't budget for everybody's activity. And so when people come to the council and say, will you donate, will you pay for this $10,000 fee, or we didn't budget for those because those weren't our activities that our program puts on. So I just say this to implore all our programs, all our wonderful happenings, to put it in your budget. So this one is not too expensive. It's $1,200, and we always want to try to do what we can to meet the youth's needs. But I'm just sharing that when nobody budgets these meals and things in their activities, the council doesn't have an unlimited budget their own selves to fund all those. So don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I'm just saying this is the reality of the situation, and we're halfway through the fiscal year. So just want to share that because it's true. So with all that, comment, Eric.
You know, a lot of things that we do assist with are fundraisers, and looking at this, I don't see any fundraisers. You know, that would really make me feel better if they did fundraising and we match something instead of just throwing this on the table, requesting everything to be paid for. So that's kind of something I'd like to start seeing from the Boys and Girls Club, is some fundraising prior to them coming to the table. That way we have something to match. Otherwise it just feels like we're being leaned on, pressed for the whole cost. So I would like to start seeing some fundraisers after this year, should this get approved today. But in the future, that's what I like to see. That way we know they're doing something on their end as well. So that's all I'm saying. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. Isaac?
So, hey, Tony, good morning. Or Troy.
Good morning.
So for next year, you guys are probably gonna have the same thing, and you probably heard some of the comments that were made. Are you guys gonna be able to kind of meet some of those needs and stuff? And then because, one of the things is you have two accounts, and without going too far into things, you should be able to pull this off with your own funding over there. But then on the tribal side, also start budgeting it into your plans. There's something to look at, and I appreciate your work trying to keep things going, and then on top of that, make it a little bit better too for the kids. My next question is to Rona. Where would this come from? We're good though? Okay. So I would make a motion to approve the Boys and Girls Club request full chunk youth cultural camp meal sponsor in the amount of $1,223.38.
Thank you, Isaac. We have a motion by Isaac and a second by Kenny. Discussion. Objection. Motion carried 7-0. Thank you,
The only thing
council.
that I would like to add to there is, remember culture camp kind of between the two programs goes back and forth between Boys and Girls Club and Renaissance. And so I believe, and Troy, you can help correct me if I'm wrong here, but this year they didn't know if Renaissance wanted to pick it up again. But I think Boys and Girls Club wanted to try to be proactive and said, we'll do it. So obviously that wouldn't have been budgeted because they assumed Renaissance might have taken it. So, I mean, just so everybody's clear, let's try to help everybody along. Then if Renaissance wants it next year, talk about it now and have them have it in their budget as well. Because I think they came with the same request last year.
Yeah.
So just so that we're all on the same page, because I completely agree with him and you guys that they know that the club has the ability and it can do it. But I know there are some fundraisers coming up, correct, Troy? They're doing like their golf tournament again and a few others.
So thanks, Eugene, and as a board member, thanks, Eugene, for weighing in. I don't want to act real cheap, but I'm just saying like, oh, we want to put on a dance. Can you guys get everything? Like,
Completely understand.
just in a good way, we want to put on all these things, but we also want to encourage people to put it in your program's budget so then we can, fund that budget as you requested. And I just want to take the heat off some of the council, because then we have tasked with saying yes or no, like, Rona said we got about $5,000 to get us through the rest of the fiscal year. So then the ball teams are going to come this summer. I see we got a ball team raising money to go to Hawaii. So there's some good things coming up. I just want to make sure that we
We're not spread too
Be
thin.
encouraging to them.
be encouraging to them all. Yep, okay.
I got a closing comment.
Isaac?
So the other thing too is how many slots, I guess that's another thing that we always kind of hear from some of us on the councils when these activities are being held. There's only so many slots. It provides only so many families or children. Is there a way to gauge that or to find out to where we have more than enough, so everybody's invited, not just my family and the council's families, kids.
Whoever signed up first.
It's and I was looking at that, if it's in the advertisement part of it or what, but when it comes to the culture and kids, kind of opening this up because it's going to be campaign season here pretty soon, but the culture of kids, elders, and what's the other one, veterans, but at the same time, I think when it comes to our culture, man, we really talk a good game, but then we're cutting all these things, and I know there's got to be a balance in there somehow. But what I'm getting at is I'm saying that we need to make it to where that there is no kid standing outside the gate that says, man, I wish I could be over there. It looks like they're having fun. Because when it comes to our culture and our ways and stuff, there's some people that say the kids ain't supposed to be around here. There's other people that say, well, how are they going to learn? And then it goes back and forth. But the only way that we're going to lead a brighter future is to teach our kids these things. if we want these things to live on and we continue to pray about them and talk about them, then we got to put action behind them and support them. And I'm not saying that towards any comments that were made here, but what I'm saying is that none of the kids should be standing outside the gate when it comes to this culture camp.
Yeah.
So if there's a way and you only have 30 slots for 30 kids for this or 15 for this or that, there's got to be a way to where we can open that up and say, you know what, we didn't budget for, 300 kids here, but we got 300 kids here. Bring them all in here and we're gonna figure this out. And yeah, it's gonna put a strain on the staff and on the program of it, but it's also a prayer that's being answered, because you want these kids to be involved in these things. You want these kids to learn these things, because these are some of the things that are going to help them when they have them lonely times at home, when they have them, they'll go back and think about that, or maybe they'll go back and find a good feeling in that, of something, a memory that they created over there at one of these cultural camps or these tribal activities. So we need to quit leaving people unincluded, is what I'm saying, in a good way. And so it's always like that sometimes. We have that, so we have to measure that need. So every time we have this cultural camp, we have an opportunity to say, hey, we didn't have enough sack lunches or whatever, so next year we're going to double it up. And then next year we're going to, because every time, if you look at the membership, and then here's another buzz one, you look at the enrollment, then it increases. It constantly increases. There's kids that are coming in here. There's kids that are being born into this tribe. So all these numbers and all these supplies and everything are going to constantly have to go up. But just something to think about, because it's really sad when you see that. And then if there's a way that we can take, common sense to me says you take Boys and Girls Club and Renaissance, and you two departments sit down and hammer this damn thing out, excuse my language, but put this thing together and then find out how much money you guys, how much it's going to take, and what all it looks like, the agenda, the activities, all of that, because what's going to keep our kids stronger is to be able to have these activities all summer long, so I could go over there to this activity and I could be a part of what my child wants to be, have fun over there and learn something. But then you come in and one of our biggest statements of one of our programs that say that is reunify the family. It says that in one of these programs. So they should be included. CPS, Child and Family Services, they should be included. They also have money. We can make this thing big and bad for a whole month, is what I'm saying. Is if we just network with each other, each program, these programs here today, what I see, and it gets very frustrating, is that they don't network. Man, we send you guys all to all kinds of trainings out there and everything. Then after the actual conference, and everybody's kind of standing at the back of the room, getting contact information, all that stuff. We need to do that among people. We need to do that here. If we don't work together, then it's going to be some kind of way. So I just want to try to encourage you like that, Troy, to be that way and kind of reach out to some of those programs. Some of them, then they sit there and they don't know what to do with it. So then the council will come in and have to try to help out and move things around or whatever. Who is that on the iPhone?
Yeah, I'd just like to mention that we did
There's one below.
services for Coach Camp. So they're helping out with two of our contracts.
All right, that's good. Just keep networking with all these. The other one, YCIC too. They got funding up there. Supposed to be helping our kids. How come they're not chipping in? All these programs that involve kids, ask them, hit them up, tell them chip in. Let's go. Yep, Kiki DJ, ask them, chip in. Let's go. Kind of like back in the day when we all used to run around. Sure, we used to round everybody up and get chip ins. Got to do that amongst programs. So just trying to encourage you like that. And then there's $1,200. This shouldn't even be anything. And looking at these little meals, when these kids are out there in 95 degrees, some of these things, it's a good chance to pump nutrition into their bodies. That's the best thing that they could have. Vegetables, fruit, all that kind of stuff. Maybe even go as far as bringing in these travel gardens, teach these kids how to garden, grow their own food. All of this. I don't know why it's so hard to understand for some of our people. I'm not saying it's like that for you, but I'm just kind of getting on a soapbox here because I get tired of it. Not working together. Man, that's our biggest, we've become our biggest enemy, you know? So I just wanted to share that in a good way. I'll shut up now. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for what you shared today. Moved us along a little bit and helped us understand where we could be doing better and where our responsibilities lie. So, good words.
Madam Chair.
Hi,
Hi,
oh,
this is
Janelle. Hi,
Janelle
Janelle.
Decora. Hi. Thank you, Isaac, for those great words. I just wanted to see how Troy can best align those services with all these education departments. So maybe he can work with Tiffany or Darla to get names of each of the DODs so he can know exactly who to reach out to, Isaac, for that, if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, do it.
Okay,
Network.
thank you.
Thanks for being on, Janelle. Okay, so that concludes that portion of the meeting. We already talked with Little Priest, so that brings us to the tribal council item. And we have the Great Plains Tribal Leaders Health Board quarterly meeting coming up. I sent that to you guys in the email, and we got a few, that's a busy week. We've got the Great Plains Tribal Leaders Health Board meeting, which is in Tama. We have the NCI mid-year, I think, happening in DC, and the Great Plains Area Department of Interior consultation is happening in Bismarck, all in those same few days. So I'm looking for support to go to the Great Plains Tribal Leaders Health Board as the representative for the tribe. They reimburse my travel, so I come back with a reimbursement check, so that's good. But if any other council wanted to go to that meeting, it would be on our dime. I'm asking that somebody consider going to North Dakota for the Bismarck consultation. I asked Scott Davis for a virtual link. As you know, it doesn't have one. They said probably not. These meetings came together so quickly. They said that the Great Plains area is already getting special treatment, which I didn't like the way one gentleman said that, because Bismarck was added. Bismarck was not originally on the schedule. But I guess there are other tribal areas that didn't get a specific location in their area. So the person that sets up these meetings is of the thought that we're already getting special treatment by them standing up a meeting in Bismarck. So for those reasons, I really hope that somebody will consider going. But for this one, it's the health board meeting that we need approval for. I just wanted to recap what's all going on that week, if you look at your schedules and if you're interested.
So you're gonna represent the tribe at
In
this
Tama,
meeting? In
at Tama, yep.
Okay. But you're asking for somebody to go to Bismarck.
Yeah, and we already did a travel for that, so somebody can already just arrange that. But I'm just saying it's during the same time, and sometimes some of the council have kind of wanted to go to the health board meeting too, and I'm kind of saying, could you consider going there instead? So is there a motion for the health board meeting at Tama?
Make a motion for the chair to travel to Tama for a favorite recipe.
All right, nation building.
Nation network.
Motion by Isaac, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Eric, discussion, objection. Motion carried 7-0-0. 10:06 a.m. and having a little cute Motions regarding the Powell Committee.
Motion for them to uphold the bylaws, their new bylaws.
Recording in progress.
Second by Isaac. Discussion? Objection? Motion carried 700. Eric, or Isaac.
With that suggestion, talking about with this powwow to next year's with that funding, do we want to make a motion for that to?
No.
So, because it would help offset that.
Yeah, you have to have, consider the budget. Every year it's been deficit budget. So anything that's left over is covering that deficit no matter what. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you started off even, and then you collected a little bit more, then yeah, that extra should go into.
So
But
do
we
you,
haven't been that way for 3 or 4 years.
so do you think would it help just to track it of saying, say like, there's 5,000, say that was what was left over, created this account, put it in that 5,000 left over, and then if there is a deficit, then show that it's coming back out of there, where that go to, do you think? Because the reason why I'm asking that question, because I was willing to make a motion to actually have that as to create its own account just for powwow, so that way if there's any money left over,
It just stays
then
there.
it just stays in there.
Just like
for
the
next-
debt just stays there too.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
So you either have extra or you in the hole
yeah,
and it just rolls over to the next year.
that could help offset some of the cost for next year, so as things going up, just trying to look at a way to.
No, it's just there. It goes over or it doesn't. It goes over. to-
So is that a long process to set up a separate account?
What do you mean? It's just, you have line items, you have separate line items for each thing. I think Powell is 99.30, 99.10. And then you go into your separate accounts. Thought. Honorariums is where the
So when
prize
they,
money comes out of, but those all still are accountable to this one account. So there's several sub-accounts under the main account. And that covers everything. Everything goes back
170
into
that
that,
comes over
goes back into that, yeah, main thing. It's not just, you don't carry over prize money
Yeah,
because it's still covering all these other areas.
and that's why I asked that, just because of like, so on the bids on trash and the monitoring of the restrooms and all the operations of Palo. Is there any way that we could offset that by any money that's left over to just keep it in there so we can offset next year? But because if we have like facilities has struggled with trying to stay within their budget.
Comment, that's where fundraising would come in.
Yeah,
Either
they're eager.
if they're, like they said, they're already doing that Indian taco sale coming up, that in the arrears or in the black, fundraising will help them get ahead no matter where they're at. And so it's already a line item, and they just need to keep track of that communication between the treasurer, finance, the powwow committee. That line item needs to be in clear communication. So when they do a fundraiser, they're getting ahead no matter where they're at, and whether they're in the black or not. So I like it that they're starting fundraising. That makes me feel good. So I just hope they stay on it. Yeah, it gave me a warm fuzzy right there, and I heard that.
Is there
Serious.
to consider adding applicants Ramon, Laura, and Christina Parker? I have a motion by Eugene to appoint Ramon, Laura Jr., and Christina Parker to the Powell Committee as discussed with the Powell Committee. Second by Rona. Discussion?
Discussion that I think that when the motion was made for them to enforce the bylaws, that they could do that themselves and we wouldn't be putting names in there, because if they don't work out, then it came from the council level, then they got to come back to the council and look for that motion to be.
Council still has to
The only thing is the council appoints the committee, so that's why we have to, so they asked for that and we're honoring it by putting them on there.
Okay.
And then when Lorelai had mentioned re-advertising it, we already had applicants that,
Put in,
were in the pool.
okay.
So we're doing this, allowing us, will they have to revise their bylaw for members?
That's why I asked when, yeah, I don't think they have to revise them. It's just an acknowledgement that the council's putting 2 more people on there. And then in their budget, they're gonna have to be able to pay these people a stipend.
Then, speaking about amending bylaws then, so to Eric's point that he made earlier about, could we make a motion today that would allow us to amend the bylaws to take out the, VSO and just make it the commander of the Winnebago Village Association?
Well, then that would defeat the purpose of having a person that was an employee.
Yeah. But I guess to his point, I'm trying to understand what Eric was saying, but the VSO will always be there, but also adding in and the commander, because in the future, it may not always be the same person. That's kinda where my head goes with it. He brought that up.
And or?
Yeah, and or,
Because right now we're in a stutter step. We do have a VSO, but he's not in operation at the moment. So that empties that seat for this week. But if we had the commander of the veterans organization, that seat would still be filled. And that's kind of where I was at with that.
So we have a motion to put those 2 people on there. Teresa had a question about the bylaws. So if the council wants to put the bylaws back on the agenda and put some revisions in there, I invite you guys to do that. If there's some things you guys talked about that you want in there. So any further discussion on the motion? Objection? Motion carried 700. Does that take care of the motions for the Powell Committee? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to
We
adjourn.
have a motion by Eric. Do we have a second?
second,
Second by Eugene. Discussion? Objection?
I object. No, I just.
Motion carried, adjourned at 12:42, 700 is the vote, and we'll